Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in truly unprecedented times in the world of chess. And what I'm talking about is the fact that we have the highest rated player in the world, the strongest player, many would say, Magnus Carlsen, not actively playing in the World Championship cycle. Frankly, he's not playing much classical chess at all these days. But we have a reigning and active champion, and his name is Gukesh. Now, since Magnus vacated the title, every world champion has been put under the microscope since him. The good news for the microscope is that there have only been 2 world champions, so it doesn't have a particularly busy day in the office. We had Dingley Ren, and now we have Gukesh. And this video is about Gukesh. Why? Because I think he has been subjected to far too much scrutiny from newspapers, headlines, journals, websites, since he became the world champ. Any good result he has, it becomes the biggest story. Any bad result he has, it becomes a massive debate of the world championship status. Gukesh just finished the Singfield Cup, one of the strongest tournaments of the year. Why did I say that? I don't know why I became British for that one word. I want to show you some of his games, his style, and talk about what I think the future holds for him. So let's get into it, shall we? Here we go. I made one video about this tournament thus far, and it was this first round game. If you haven't seen the game, I'm not going to go into detail in 7 minutes of time. To analyze this game, and then 7 minutes each game. This one's going to be fast. Because this one is called Praggnanandhaa beats Gukesh with 100% accuracy. And in that game, Pragg played a very good queen's pawn opening. Gukesh spent a lot of time in the opening. It wasn't particularly clear what he was looking for. And then he retreated his bishop to the wrong square. It would have been slightly better to go back this way. And Pragg played a perfect game. I mean, Pragg applied great pressure. He got the 2 bishops, and he just simply got the advantage, and he never looked back. It didn't matter that Gukesh has an uncompromising style, or that he's a creative defender, or that he's a tenacious fighter, or he has an unbreakable spirit and will. At the end of the day, all of that didn't matter because Pragg played an amazing game and won. Now, this game in and of itself already has several stories, and I'm going to tell you about them. There were recent interviews done. There was a podcast, I believe, with Vishy Anand, who is sort of the godfather of Indian chess, and he actually touted Pragg as the strongest of the young Indian players. Now, one thing you should know about Pragg is that he played in the previous candidates. He played in the candidates tournament with Gukesh at the same time. So he's already been at the elite level. He's also been friendly with Magnus Carlsen. Magnus has invited him to training sessions for quite a long time. So Pragg has been sort of the target, maybe, for Indian chess. After this tournament, after beating Gukesh, he won the tournament. He went on to get 5.5 out of 9, tying with Fabiano Caruana, and Pragg is up to number 4 in the world. So there's a fascinating storyline even here. This is a rivalry. They are teammates at the Olympiad, but Pragg is the 4th highest rated player in the world. It's Magnus, Hikaru, Fabi, and Pragg. He's around 10 to 12 points higher rated now, if not more. It might be close to 20 over Gukesh, and we will talk about that later. I have 2700 chess pulled up here, and yeah, Pragg is rated 2785, and Gukesh is 2767. It's 18 rating points higher. Pragg has broken out, and he is approaching 2800 very, very rapidly. It would be his first time, I believe, breaking 2800. So this storyline is very interesting because Pragg is a monster, but Gukesh is the other part of the story. A lot of players, they lose their first round of the tournament the way like he did, they might go down. No, Gukesh is not like that. Check out this very next game. He shows up the very next day to the tournament, all right? He's playing Nodjirbek Abdusator. It's a Spanish, right? It's a main line, and Nodjirbek plays what's called the open Spanish, abierto. You take on e4, and then you play b5 and d5. It's open because the e file's open, etc. So we have this, b5, and white will win the pawn back on e5, and then black will just stabilize the center, right? So we have this, bishop here, look at their time. Both guys are kind of playing regular opening theory, d4, bishop c2, d3, bishop b1, all normal. Here, castles, all of this has been played before. You notice Gukesh's time. He started the game with 130. He's still playing moves without thinking. Nodjirbek is thinking a tiny bit. Now the best move is pawn to a4. Gukesh knows that. Bishop to d6, and now pawn takes b5. So he spends around 8 minutes here. That is one of the best moves. The other idea is to play bishop a2. Gukesh is showing world championship preparation. When you do a training camp for a world championship, your openings are incredible. 15 memorized moves. Clearly the homework has been done. Also, this position is one of the most ridiculous I've ever seen. Like, why is there a black pawn here? Why is it supported by a 2-horse and queen armada? There are 2 bishops. You castled that way, opposite of your opponent, but all your pawns have been advanced, which means the game is going to get completely nuts. Like, Nodrbek is trying to seal the position shot. Gukesh kicks the knight away. This pawn is still a huge problem for white. No pawn in white's position can stop the pawn, right? We get knight back to d7. Gukesh takes here, helping Nodrbek secure better control. And now look at this move, rook a5, totally chaotic game. These are the kinds of positions where Gukesh really, really thrives. He loves positions where he gets 2 hours on the clock or 90 minutes on the clock, and he can work them out. Nobody plays classical, pure classical chess of the Indian players and the Indian young stars like Gukesh. That's why so much has been made of the rapid and blitz, him playing 15-minute chess or 25-minute chess or even blitz chess, like 3-minute chess. A lot has been made about the fact that he is not at the elite level just yet, but other players have gone through similar changes in their career and improvements in their career. Knight f3, bishop d5 is now the best move. He probably should have taken. Position is way beyond my pay grade. I can't even begin to get into the specifics here. The knight goes to d4, queen b7, right? Bishop 2e3. Completely insane game. Completely insane. Rook e8, nice move. Okay, he goes knight b6. Now knight back to d2 is apparently also an inaccuracy. Like, none of the moves make any sense. I just want to show you, like, these types of games. One thing about Gukesh, though, is he is really clutch. He is really clutch. He has a way to keep the game going, and when the game is double-edged and has mutual chances, he will find a way down the stretch. He grabs the bishop. It's still extremely complicated. Game is on a knife's edge. He goes b5, looking for knight c6, rook here. Very complicated game, but it's going to end up being Nodrbek who will make the first mistake. Gukesh, 5 minutes to 10, down on time, high pressure position, h4, and the second Nodrbek makes a mistake, Gukesh has 3 minutes on the clock. What is clutch factor in chess? It's when you make the right decisions down the stretch with time ticking. In classical chess in particular, not rapid or blitz, Gukesh is so good at this. For a guy that isn't excelling at blitz and rapid yet, which are formats where from the beginning of the game you have 20 minutes, he is so good at locking in. His opponent plays 1 inaccuracy. He immediately chops the knight. He takes, and he plays queen a2 with an infiltration. And Nodrbek has some engine ways to defend the game, but ultimately it's not going to be enough. His king is running. His pawn is strong, but it's not strong enough. And Gukesh, safeguarding his king, coming back to play defense. One thing about Gukesh, like I said, he's a fighter. He lost that first game. Prague absolutely played the game of the freaking tournament against him. All right? Positional masterclass. Very next game, Gukesh bounces back. A nasty game. I mean, this game was like a fist fight. Look at this position. Have you ever seen a sandwich of pieces like this on the d-file? What are we even looking? But somehow he just finds a way to get it done. He's a fighter. Some of his games are gritty. This is how we get it done. Now, he didn't win and lose every single game, but in all of his games, it's never boring. Being a Gukesh fan is really stressful because he doesn't show up to have calm, simple games. Watch this next game. He plays his teammate. Okay. Now I have to go full screen to make sure there are no spoilers for the rest of the video. I don't know why chess.com insists on doing this, but sometimes that. Watch this. Just watch this. Okay. Watch this. This is ridiculous. This game. So Duda, his teammate for the World Championship, they literally work together to win the World Championship. We have a Queen's Gambit decline. Okay. All normal. E3. Gukesh plays a6, b6, solid, all normal. Pawn takes, bishop b2, bishop b7, g3. Duda is playing in a way to deliberately get Gukesh out of the opening, but Gukesh knows what to do. Bishop d6, queen e7. He's not castling because there's actually positions where with white, if you do castle this way, black can castle long. So Gukesh is actually playing this in the best way possible. He's played this in a way that Duda played slightly inaccurately. So Gukesh's opening preparation and knowledge really, 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 really high. Now we see a4, and here black can already plant the knight on the e4 square, but Gukesh plays h5. h5 is crazy. Like, dude, he is coming in to take, like, this is his style. He's not a boring player. He's not a boring champ. He's not going to do any... Dude's 19 years old. He is a fighter. His games are crazy. The problem is when your games are crazy and you're not on your game, you can spin out of control very quickly. He puts the knight in the middle, and very quickly, Duda is just much worse. Like, Duda is just getting pounded here. h3 incoming, shoving the bishop all the way back. Maybe pawn takes. You're never going to castle. You're not going to castle this way. White's hope is to play bishop a3, trade the bishop, queen a3, trade the queen, right? That's what Duda tries to do. Gukesh plays queen e6, doesn't want to trade. Doesn't want to trade all the pieces. He wants to take like this, play like this, and play d5, and get a completely dominant position. Queen a3. We play knight f6. Not the best move. h3 was better, but it's tough to understand, like, what's the next move after h3. Gukesh tries to keep the tension. He plays knight f6. White goes knight c4. Rook d8 completely gives away a pawn. This is Gukesh's style. This is Gukesh's style. Gukesh solves positions. He spends a lot of time in classical, which is why it's his best format, and he makes very practical decisions. Completely gives away a pawn. Gives away the pawn. Doesn't need it. And then he plays the best move, which is a5. How do you explain to somebody, rook d8 giving up the pawn, a5? Well, you limit the queen. Queen can't get any access. The bishop can go to a6 in some positions. d5 is threatening to trap the knight. Kind of. Sort of. Right? Pawn takes h4. Rook takes h4, which apparently is the wrong move. Again, the best move here is apparently bishop a6. So this is the problem with playing ultra-concrete chess, because if it ever goes wrong, Duda is gonna make some problems for you. Queen g4, the bishop comes back, and before you know it, Duda finds the brilliant move b5. The rook is hanging, but I'm gonna take and make a queen, and white is winning. So again, like I said, being a Gukesh fan is just a heart attack waiting to happen. His games are crazy. When he's cooking, he's really cooking. Like, he understands every step of the way. But knight to g4, and after queen a2, Duda stopped the entire black attack, and the bishop is just hanging. And now Gukesh takes the rook over here. Rook c7 is again the best move, threatening a mate. So black has to come back. And now the winning move here is bishop to g2. You need to include bishop to g2. You're trying to sack the queen to get try to sack the bishop to get the mate. The queen goes back, and then you take. You have to play bishop g2 before you take. Because if you do this, rook h2, there is no bishop g2, and I'm always threatening to get in here. So I just win the race. You have to go for a queen trade. Gukesh plays rook takes f2, and the game calms down a little bit. What did I say? Gukesh is so clutch. If you let him off the hook, he will immediately cut, and that's exactly what he does. He's a fighter. So all these games show his style. Asa, look at this position is ridiculous. Rook to b2, knight c8. It looks like you're just making a queen. You block the rook, but there's knight e3, f2 is checkmate. Gukesh is threatening mate with a pawn. He has a minute. Knight takes d6 is a sacrifice. If you take, I queen with check, and I take the pawn and you lose. So you go here, check, here, and we get rid of the pawn. We get rid of the bishop. We stop that pawn. And yeah, in case you didn't have enough of a heart attack, obviously I'm still making a queen, and the game ends in a repetition. It ends in a repetition because the king can't escape perpetual check. The king is crisscrossed, right? He's going to be hunted along these ranks until he runs out of oxygen. Ridiculous game, right? Completely ridiculous. Gukesh was much better. He understood the opening really well, but when he misses, right, he gives his opponents chances. Imagine they pick up these points, right? Like, imagine he lost this game. He's just stressful. The chess he played. Yo, check out this next game. Let me just make sure that, again, it didn't. Nothing went wrong. For some reason, it jumped ahead in that last one. Look, all right, look at this. It's a game against Firouzja. Very next game. All his games in this tournament were stressful. If you're a fan, it's just stressful. E4, C5, D4, right? It's a Najdorf Sicilian, okay? Now, he's going to end up playing here a line. He's going to out-prepare his opponent by a bunch. Look at this. Rook E1. This is some line. Black plays Knight C6. Bishop F1. Okay. A5. The knight... Oh, my goodness. He went Knight B3, Rook E1, Bishop F1, Knight T2. Crazy stuff. He's trying to go here and here. He's going to play Knight C4. He's trying to play Knight E3. He's trying to completely dominate the D5 square. Look at the time advantage in the opening. Gukesh builds up a 50-minute time advantage. A guy has opening preparation like you wouldn't believe. And this is a result of training for a world championship. So he is ready to detonate the prep on his opponents. Now, Firouzja is one of the most creative players in the world, right? He's not just going to fall over. And by the way, if you compare their styles, Firouzja is a rapid and blitz monster. He's a top 3 player in the world in speed chess. He's in the semifinal or the final against Magnus and Hikaru in everything. In classical, Gukesh is still is better, right? Now look at this last move, right? 18 minutes. 18 minutes. Queen b6. Now Gukesh has to get that opening time advantage and positional advantage to a concrete advantage. He has to go knight b5, knight d5. One of the moves, he goes knight b5. He's looking for c3. Rook a3 was not the best move. He could have tried to build up a little bit over here. Doesn't particularly matter. Knight back to c3. He's looking for his moment. He's looking to break through. Suddenly it starts going wrong. Alireza immediately understands the right maneuver. Right? He's trying to get the knight out of the way, trying to increase this pressure here. Gukesh has to get rid of the knight before it re-enters the battle. And very quickly, he's worse. And then very quickly, not only is he worse, he's going to end up being much worse. So Firouzja here plays breathtaking chess, coordinating all his pieces. Look at the time. It's even. F5 is excellent, controlling this knight. Rook b3. Bishop g5 or bishop d8 were both good moves. And suddenly, this is the worst position that we've had yet. If Firouzja trades here, queen e6, takes, rook e8, and just begins kind of massaging the position and slowly trying to win it, he's actually much better. I mean, I'm not going to say he's winning, but he's much better. King h8 is ultimately chosen. Not the right move. Allows Gukesh to preserve the pawn structure. What have I been saying this video? He's super clutch. Defensively, coming back from a game, coming back from a loss like he did in the first round, he's super clutch. All right? He's slightly worse throughout this game, but we get into a time scramble, and ultimately, it's going to get into an endgame. This is just a draw. Even though black is a pawn up, it's going to be impossible to win this. And he's going to try. He's going to try. He's well within his right to try everything. You keep your pawn defended. You trade, but you're not going to win this. You're not going to win this. You're not going to promote the pawn. It doesn't matter. The king gets close, and this is an easy draw. Knight takes a5, giving up the knight, and like this, right? So, again, we see the same style. We see the excellent openings. We see the excellent time advantage, but we see the position slip up, like in the game against Duda, but then we see very clutch defending. Now, that doesn't always happen. I also definitely heard... I keep going back here because I'm pretty sure the boards are jumping ahead. I don't know. This is some sort of bug. But anyway, now this game, slightly different. So, e4 from Wesley So. Gukesh plays a Berlin defense. Rook e1. This is all normal. Knight e5. This is some new line. It's a line that I'm quite fond of. Bishop e7. White plays bishop f1. Takes. And there's a line here, knight c3, and there's even a line here, pawn to d4. So you can sacrifice the rook, and then you can start some sort of attack. Wesley is not going to do that. He goes back here. and Gukesh plays knight f5, which is a very combative move, by the way. It's not a move to make a draw. The move to make a draw is rook e8. Like, if you want to completely kill the game, you just play a move like rook e8. Gukesh goes knight f5, allowing knight d5, moves the bishop out to h4. So he's deliberately provoking a game, because that's his style. Very provocative, even in the most dry and boring opening. g3, c6. Look at this. Right? Like, he's deliberately playing prep stuff that he's memorized that is super provocative. Bishop h3. Wesley finds the best move. Gukesh plays knight d4. The bishop's hanging, but the knight is hanging. Pawn takes h4. Not the best move, by the way. The best move here was to bring the knight back according to the computer, but after this, and pawn takes d5, this is our game. So Gukesh's prep has worked out again, but it's very provocative. I mean, giving white the two bishops, damaged pawns in the center. Right, c3, queen takes h4 now is the best move. Gukesh finds it after spending 10 minutes. If pawn takes, obviously queen takes. Bishop back to g2. Now the knight has to go back to f5. He finds that, and now white should go d4, and he finds it. So this is our position. Now the move here for black, the best move for black, is findable, but quite difficult. The best move is to go a5. And the idea of a5 is not just to push the pawn. I think it's to bring the rook to this area. And then when white takes, you go here and try to get out this bishop. Gukesh starts with this move. So he never plays a5. I'm not exactly sure what the difference is, but a5, maybe there is not a huge difference. Maybe there are something else that can be done there, but bishop takes. Gukesh plays bishop to e6. Sorry, Gukesh plays bishop to e6. I don't know why. I feel like I'm mixing up their names. Takes, rook e8. Very, very complicated position. And now rook e7. And rook e7 is apparently the wrong move. Apparently what black has to do here is give up the rook completely, which is, he goes here and Wesley's like, okay, I'm going to be really solid. Gukesh plays d5. And after queen f3, from this game, there was no coming back. Because Wesley's going to win material. His king is quite safe. And he's going to have a dominant set of pawns in the endgame, which means black has to create some problems. But Wesley almost has the perfect anti-Gukesh style. Wesley is experienced, he's very strong, and he's very solid. He's not going to allow unnecessary risk. It's not even the best move, doesn't even matter. He trades, he's going to pick up a pawn. He's very good at consolidating his advantage, and he's very good on time. Wesley is also one of the best players in the world in speed chess. Rook d5, rook g6. Gukesh tries to create some problems, complications, but Wesley just clean. Very, very professional. Wesley's a tough opponent. He's a really tough opponent, and he never looked back. From this point of the game, Wesley almost played perfectly because Wesley has the perfect anti-Gukesh style. He's extremely solid. He's extremely annoying in the sense that once you give him something, he's not giving up. He's not going to give it up. He's never going to take unnecessary risk. He's going to be super, super practical, sometimes too practical. And in this game, Gukesh played so risky. Like, he could have, again, if you look at the opening database, knight f5 is a move. It is a move. But after that, knight d5, like, to go here is wild. Most people here play c6 and just, so Gukesh deliberately played provocatively in the opening, but it backfired, right? And this is what I mean. He takes so much risk, right? Because he's always going for glory. Yo, look at this last game I'm going to show you this game is the epitome of the Gukesh effect, of the fighter, of the, the fighting spirit. And it's just interesting to me because he is such an exciting world champion, right? And I don't think all this stuff about deserving, not deserving is justified at all. Okay, look, c4. It's a Queen's Indian against Levon. He plays very solid, g3, b3. None of this matters, really. What does matter is that Aronian improvises in the opening, and he just simply lands himself in a worse position, right? White has two bishops. White has a very pleasant game. And now Gukesh is going to go to work, but he has to outplay Levon, which is not any easy task. And quite quickly, I think in this position, a4 was the wrong choice. I think white should have played bishop takes and then went knight e4 and knight here, right? Knight e4, knight there. a4 instead, bishop here. I think in one of these like moments, Gukesh had a chance to continue his advantage. Yeah, I think here. Rook g4 appeared, and white needed to play f4. Block out the rook, and if f4, knight takes f4. If you take, I take the bishop. There's bishop f3. Knight takes e2. Bishop g4. Knight c1. And then here, maybe instead of taking, you have to play bishop h5 check first for reasons I, at first glance, don't completely understand. Yeah, I don't get it. Bishop h5 check, king f8, bishop c1, rook c6. You need to be able to move the bishop and give a check. That's the point. So bishop a3, and then you move the king, yeah, and bishop d1. Okay, all of that had to happen, right? Gukesh needed to see this sequence. He went here, and he lost his advantage, right? They had a big trade. It's still very complicated, but he lost the advantage that he had in the beginning of the game. So king c2, rook b8, and we have this position. Now, when I saw this, I knew immediately what's going to happen. I knew immediately. I was like, we're going to play 100 more moves. This is Gukesh. It's Gukesh, right? Like, this is what he does. He has this position against Levon. He lost some of his advantage. He has the bishop and some pawns. He's going to try to win this game no matter what. Yeah, he really will. And guess what? Guess what? This dude's fighting spirit is going to get rewarded. He has a couple of extra pawns. He has 5 pawns to 3. So he's a bishop and 2 pawns for a rook. Now watch. Right? You're going to keep going. Rook here. H4, just improvement. Look at their time. Look at their time, right? Now they're going to get some bonus time here. They make the second time control, they make bonus time. But before you know it, all that time is going to go away as well. And Gukesh, equal, but he's looking to break through. He's trying to win this pawn. He's trying to use his pawn majority over here, right? And let it be known that as we approach move 50, and he tries to make some improvements, and he keeps playing and playing and making Levon think. F5, G5 is on the table, rook B2, bishop G6. One of the pawns is going to go forward at some point. It's going to go forward, and guess who's winning? Guess who's winning out of absolutely nowhere? This is the Magnesian effect. We've only seen one guy take people 80, 90 moves into games and beat them in the 6th and 7th hour, and that's Magnus. Gukesh has that fighting spirit. Magnus has that endgame grind. Gukesh has that fighting spirit. Rook e3 check, king b4, but it's not perfect yet. Because here, bishop to b6 apparently is the winning move, and after rook e4, you don't take. I mean, bishop b6, rook e4 is crazy, right? Like these types of things. This is the wrong move. The best move was bishop b6. So he's got the fighting spirit, just little things like this. And now, here's the craziest part about this game. It would not be a Gukesh game without a heart attack, right? How's there going to be a heart attack? White is going to walk in, take a pawn, and queen. Visually, by the way, this looks completely winning for white. Completely winning. Black still has to be very sharp. He's got to win pawns back. There he goes, right? He's winning the pawns. He's going to come here. There you go. Pawn is 2 squares from queening. Bishop h4. Now a7, king, right? a7, king f5. King b6. h5. And in this position, you should play bishop here. Bishop here. Bishop here, you come back, stop the pawn, king b7. Here, you need to keep this protected. King b7, you give up the pawn for like this. Boom, boom, boom. It's probably going to end up being a draw. Gukesh goes here. He's losing because black can go king g4, attacking the bishop, sort of. But more importantly, black will get to the h2 square before the bishop. Gukesh had to put his bishop on h2. And Gukesh, just like in the Wesley game, although in this game it's a slightly different thing, gives an opponent a winning chance. It's like the 4th winning chance. Duda, Firouzja, Wesley, right? And now king g4, and this infiltration is winning. Levon, in his mind, already prepared a draw and just goes rook a8 and takes, and it's just a draw. They drew. And they drew the last round of the tournament as well. Gukesh drew Fabi. Pretty straightforward game. Ultimately, this tournament ends. It was very close. There's a playoff between Pragg and Fabi. It's going on right now. Pragg might end up winning the tournament. And Pragg has had an amazing 2025. Pragg is extremely motivated by Gukesh as the world champion. But Gukesh gets 4. He gets 8th, right? And it was very close. Nodjabek really struggled, right? And you get the feeling that Gukesh creates chances to win in almost every game he plays, but he also creates chances to lose. And that is not a style that a guy like Wesley So has, who actually also got 5.5. So I don't quite understand. Maybe they're having a playoff here of all 3 of them, right? But just you take a look at the world rankings. You see Gukesh there, right? Erigaisi is 3 points higher rated than him, and Pragg, 18 points higher. Pragg is a monster right now. Absolute beast, having a crazy year. And there is a noticeable gap between 6 and 7. And Nodjabek is going to fall even lower. I think if I refresh this, I think Nodjabek already lost. Okay, that's cool, I guess. All right, that's great. All right, that was cool. Anyway, that crashed, so that was nice. My point being, Nodjabek fell even more. So there is a clear top 3 in the world: Magnus, Hikaru, Fabi, and then there's the 3 Indian players: Pragg, Erigaisi, Gukesh. And I just find this very fascinating. I've been saying it time and time again. I don't think any of the stuff about Gukesh being an undeserving champion and having all these stories about him, a Magnus, whatever, I don't think it's fair. But it's compelling to see what's going to come next for his championship defenses. And as I showed you here, he's got fascinating qualities of a champion, but he takes so much risk. So much risk. It's not healthy for fans, and I don't know how healthy it's going to be for an ELO in the long run. But fascinating times. Curious to see his development. And in October, he's going to play in a tournament here in St. Louis. Not here, I'm not in St. Louis. Against Magnus, Fabi, and Hikaru. So that's your world champion update about 8 months after he won the title. And that's all I have for you today. Get out of here.